Back here at Jimmy John's Field in Utica, Michigan for Game 2 as we are underway.
And Wietrukowski on the mound starting the second game for Lawrence Tech. Quick 2-0 count. Wietrukowski kind of different than Matt Blunk, who started the first game for Lawrence Tech. He's a guy who really brings in the power and brings in the fastball. Slider, he will mix in a changeup. The fastball gets in the 85 to 90 range. Joey Verche once again leading things off on the Cleary side. He's got the hitter's count right now, and on 4 pitches, he'll get the free pass to first.
Yeah, not a great start for Wietrukowski. You were talking about he's got a little more power than Blunk, and typically with more power means less command. And that's what we saw right there. So leadoff runner on for the Cougars.
Right-hander from Toledo, Ohio. Blue Devils won the first game of our doubleheader on the walk-off.
Oh, yeah.
Sean Fannin.
Fun call.
Yeah, Chase with the brilliant call of that one. Here's a ground ball that hops up on the umpire end. Looks like
they're going to give him first off that one. So, unfortunate play there for the Blue Devils. Looked like it would have been at least 1, maybe 2. But those are the breaks. It all seems to even out in the end, you know.
That'll bring up Garcia. After the ground ball from Leclerc. Wietrukowski, a guy who head coach Stan Eldridge feels has unlimited potential. Runner at second there, thought about going quick. Similar first inning to what we saw in the Game 1, where you have those 2 runners on base. And now Wietrukowski will have to settle in here and work with that slight pressure on.
Garcia went 1 for 3 last game.
This is a pop-up foul ground, first base side, and they make the play. So 1 down, the first out of game number 2.
Nice play from Wakowiak there, who moves from left field to first base this game.
So the Blue Devils now in a 4-game winning streak after taking game 1. Their 28th victory of the season, 11 losses. That was their 9th conference win of the season. It was the first ever matchup in conference play between these 2 teams. Blue Devils had a below average, you could say, offensive day, but came up big at the right time. Did Sean Fannin, one of the best hitters on this Blue Devil team. There's a shot to left field off the foul pole. That was the decider in game number 1. Early on, a couple of runners on base here for Cleary. Now a 2-strike count for Wietrukowski. 6'1", 185 pounds. Southfield High School, one of a few Ohio natives on this Blue Devil team. The pitch outside, hops up on the catcher, and that'll advance the runners now to second and third into scoring position. Cadman once again behind the plate for the Blue Devils. And Wietrukowski in a jam in the early going is with 1 out. It'll be interesting to see who starts this one for Cleary, knowing they originally told us that it would be Garrett Lehner getting the start today in the second game, as the pitch is a swing and a miss. But, you know, we'll see what happens there. Lehner ended up getting some time late in that one. Now 2 outs after the strikeout. So climbing in right-handed here will be Fishbaum. Righty field lineup for Cleary. Runners on second and third. Can Wichurkowski work out of this jam? The first pitch, fouled off. Blue Devils scored in the bottom of the first in that first game. It was a 4-run fifth that brought Cleary all the way back, had them take the lead at 4-3. But the Blue Devils with the 2-run shot. And they came away with the first one in this series. We came into today saying that at the end of the day, it would probably be a disappointment for the Blue Devils not to take 2 wins here. For the second consecutive game, they find themselves with a bit of struggles in the opening inning. But 2 outs now and a 1-1 count. This feels like a big pitch early in this game, and it's outside. Make it 2-1 now. Jason Ross Jr. back with Chase Kaufman. Second game here from Jimmy John's Field. Blue Devils can extend their winning streak to 5 with a victory in this one.
Just sneaked a win out in the last game, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
After giving up 4 in the top of the 8th, they were cruising along, Matt Blunk was, and then they were – it was more of an unforced error in that third batter of the inning. Unfortunately, that let 4 more runs cross the plate. And the Blue Devils had to make some magic happen in that bottom of the 9th.
That's a big pitch to get out of that jam without giving up a run. So Cleary leaves a couple stranded in scoring position, and the Blue Devils find a way to escape that. Still is no score. We'll head to the bottom of the first when we come back on LTSN. Back on LTSN in the heart of conference play now. Blue Devils second in the WAC with now a 9-4 conference record. It'll be Dobkowski leading things off here, the center fielder. And starting on the mound in game number 2, as projected, for Cleary will be Garrett Lerner. Kind of an under-recruited guy coming out of high school. His fastball will touch about 90. Secondary pitch is the curve, but they kind of worry about him at times because he's working on a changeup, but it isn't always there. So when that isn't on, he only has 2 pitches, which can lead to issues, but he's up quickly, 0-2 in the count here. Working out of the wind. Pitch comes home, high.
Yeah, we were able to see Larner for just a little bit in that last game. Ended up giving that 2-run shot to Fannin.
It's a ground ball to first, and Rozon easily steps on the bag.
As that walk-off. So only threw a third of an inning and gave up a hit and 2 runs along with a walk, which was the tie-in run, and Fannin ended up being the winning run. So Larner already with a few pitches under him gets ready to face the Blue Devils in a fresh game too.
Storch, the Orlando native, will step in right-handed here against Lerner, who works relatively slowly in comparison to what we see with the Blue Devils. He's got the early 0-1 count. Chase Storch, an Orlando native, and you told me earlier this year, NBA playoffs starting today, that the Magic would make the playoffs. They ended up making the playoffs. I didn't believe you, but they did.
Yep,
and they
said
played
that
today.
in the podcast.
Yeah.
A huge up-and-coming team, I think, with Vucevic. That he just really took that team over the top, man. Firstly, but Tyson Ross has had a really good couple starts.
Took advantage of an injured Yankees team coming out with that series. Yeah.
That's got to be one of the most plagued injury teams I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Gary Sanchez just got placed on the IL yesterday.
Gosh. It's like every big name.
Yeah.
That. I mean,
it's pretty rough. Dylan Betances is still gone for a few weeks. It's rough.
Can't really judge them right now.
Right.
This isn't their full capacity.
And I think they're still close to 500. That's the surprising thing. DJ LeMahieu is doing well. New pickup from Colorado.
Throw to first. Storch on first base after the single into left field. 1 out. That's fouled off towards the Blue Devil dugout.
Give you the fielders for the Cougars here. Leclerc, McHouston, Garcia round out the outfield. Ammons, Verche, DiMarino, Ruzan in the infield. And your battery today will be Larner on the mound, and Hoogerhide will be behind the plate. Hoogerhide played last game as the designated hitter, though. He's going to go out and catch this game. James Edwards will take a break for game 2 here. Edwards called a pretty solid game up until that last inning where Fannin just overpowered the pitcher, and Larner right here, and just crushed one out to left field right off the foul pole.
So the Cougars now at 8-18 on the season. 2-11 in WAC play. That's last in the conference. Just 4-12 on the road this season are the Cougars.
Big win for Lawrence Tech there. They did not want to drop to 8-4.